Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to Game 1 of your semifinal matches here in the Verizon Warriors series. We bringing you IFHE versus the Flying Philosophers here. IFHE spawning north in the green, fielding Shokaku, North Carolina, double Bayard, Chapayev, and double Kiev. Zath, talk to me about the Philosophers.
So I was already getting excited by the Philosophers team, and now I see the double Kiev. You're saying my words, man. You're saying my words. Take a look over here at the Flying Philosophers. They're bringing a Lexington, Bogsy got his wish. They're bringing a Constellation, Bogsy got his wish, right? And then the Chapayev, double Peter Bagrations.
Double Bagration. Double Bagration.
Yep, and a late and a silly wangy.
A silly wangy. That is an interesting pick.
Who knew Philosophers played with silly wangies, huh?
Oh, Zath, you had to go there. It's a family stream, Zath.
I wasn't referring to that. I'm talking about the boat, of course.
All right, well, things are going to develop here very quickly. Double Kiev, Chapayev heading over to A. Now, Zath, for viewers who might be unfamiliar, as Kiev is perhaps not one of the more popular picks, talk to me about why you might take a Kiev in competitive play.
So a Kiev is what the French used to be, or is what the French are known for now. It used to be like the de facto gunboat ship. Okay, so you play it at range. You've got your guns, you've got your torps, etc. It doesn't have the reload booster that the French has, but it does have the ability to slot in either a smoke or a heal. As we can see, the first Kiev going in and smoking his teammate. So it's a question of if they're both running smoke here, or if one is running smoke and one is running heal. Now, the Kiev also has 8-kilometer torps, which is really handy, actually. Your detection is right on the edge of that 8-kilometer. So if you can bait somebody to come and chase you, you can torp them as you're kiting away, which is absolutely hilarious. I've totally never done that before, let me tell you. And the cool thing about this ship is when I play here, I feel like I'm in a Corvette or some other sports car. It's just everybody clicks with a different ship, and for me, I click with the Kiev. When I tell it to go, it goes. When I tell it to turn, it turns, and it turns and goes the way that I expect it to.
Narco Amoeba's Kiev, having laid smoke for his teammates out here now, getting absolutely just hammered by a whole lot of opposing ships. Zath, I don't think they're gonna be able to keep him on the. He stopped. He went he would stop there looking for Art Zero's Tarib, and it's going to cost him his ship this quickly. 3 minutes in. Go ahead.
He made a huge mistake there. Like I was talking about, Kievs are long-range gunboats. You can try to play them up close, but the problem is that the closer you are, the easier it is for the enemy to hit you, the less impactful your speed becomes. And when you stop, full stop like that, I mean, that's it. There's no coming back from that.
Yep. 3 minutes in, and just like that, IFHE down a ship already. Now we can see Seal 9's Kiev bleeding smoke for Buck's Chapayev. So both IFHE Kievs having smoke and not the heal.
So that means
Go ahead.
That means that they have the ability to disengage at will. That means that they have the ability to smoke up their teammates. So there's a little bit more tactical bonus or benefit to running a smoke versus the heal.
Now, one of the things that I like about the Philosophers lineup that they've done with the Bagratians, right? They've got two of these kind of just lurking near the C cap. A lot of players probably might not be familiar with Bagratian. It has some similarities to Tier 8 premium German cruiser Prinz Eugen, right? It is almost a heavy cruiser, except it brings 180mm guns. But it does have a heal. It's a fairly resilient ship. It can be difficult to get off the board. It has exceptionally good anti-aircraft capabilities.
Yes.
So by pairing two of these together, they've basically staked a line in the cap and said, nope, ours, you're not getting in here. We will defend this because we have the health pool and the A to do it. In the meantime, you see the remainder of the team, the Constellation, the Chapayev, the Tarib, and the Siliwangi, able to really flex the speed and positioning that they have, because that's one thing Constellation has, is a whole lot of speed. Over here at the A cap, able to generate angles and pick up the cap, and now making a very decisive play to hold it, pushing the Siliwangi and her Hydro up into the cap.
Now we aren't talking though over on East again. You were talking about those Bagrations sitting there. they've got 2 Bayards now coming down south. So IFHE is going to try to make a concerted push into CCAP. And the Bayards, of course, they've got that reload booster. They've got the pretty good HE penetration. So I think if they can focus one Bagration down at a time, they can really make this happen. Here comes
Well, I
some
really
EP.
like.
Nope.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say I really like what they've done with the Bayards here, moving one inside along the islands and another outside to generate angles on these ships.
That's right. And now we're going to probably see as the Bayard off to the 9 line, Creamy Pie goes and change. No, didn't change to AP.
Didn't change.
Little
He does
too
now.
late. Yeah,
Didn't
little
change
too
now.
late on that change.
Yep, kind of missed the timing there as Speed Pilot kind of turned through and most of those, but now Speed's going to give the AP salvo to Grim to his north. Grim reloading the AP. There it comes right now as Pikachu Shokaku coming in with planes.
Yeah, we see the planes coming in to try to dislodge those Bayards, make them feel a little bit less comfortable. Both planes
really
actually involved here.
Really focusing Speed out here.
Yeah.
Not really giving very much damage back to the Bayards as well. Speed's going out.
Yep.
Just like that, IFHE grabs back a kill. Still down about 160 points here. 6.5 minutes gone.
Yep. So brilliant decision with the angling there, and also we see the value of DPM, I guess you could say, over the heal and the sustain.
Indeed, very much so, especially in the 2v1, which is exactly what that was, right? Not once did they shoot at the other Bagration. They picked their target. Both of them focused him out. The carrier also moving down this flank. You see here Pikachu Shokaku coming down the 8 line, being fairly aggressive with his hull positioning. He's over here throwing his planes into the fray. Yes, we did. And so I commented that at the time as well, right? I like that they get a little aggressive with the hull because it does give them the opportunity to make plays like this.
Right.
Now, it's not as if the philosophers have been idle, right? Arch Zero's Tarib cutting across the middle of the board, looking like he's either going to make a play firing on Grimm's Bayard, or actually, more accurately, probably going to double back and go cap B. Although they know he's there now, as he opens fire on the Bayard.
And I'm sure they're about to find the Shokaku. The planes are right there. They're probably going to spot the Shokaku if they haven't already.
Grim in a bit of trouble here, spotted by Arch, got the AP coming in and the Constellation. That's Farmer Beb firing on him from quite a bit of range as well.
Constellation's got pretty good guns. It's weak armor, but if no one's going to shoot at it, nobody cares. Doesn't matter.
Nobody shoots at it. You don't notice so much. Now both Bayard's going to be onto the cap as Slanar takes 2 more torpedoes from the Shokaku. He's getting quite low as well. This Bagration play not really working out very well for the Philosophers, Zath. I liked it at the time, but unfortunately it looks like that IFHE has just got a great counter for it, as there goes the other Bagration.
That's right. That's right.
It gives them a ship lead, but not quite a points lead.
You can see Arch Zero now has a decision to make. Does he go down the channel for that Shokaku? Does he go north for the cap?
Yep. Does he chase the carrier or go for the cap? He can see the carrier now. They know exactly where he is. He's going for the cap, Zath.
He's going for the cap.
He's going to take pot shots at the carrier, but he's going for the cap, which is honestly, I think, is probably the right play.
Well, there's nothing to stop the Bayards from turning around to support their carrier, so...
Indeed.
I agree with the decision. It allows him, after getting B, to go back to west and get behind the Chapayev in North Carolina, and that can be disastrous.
It's taken some time, but IFHE has also organized a nice push here over at north of the A cap.
Yep.
Bucks Chapayev sitting in smoke.
Yep.
Silly Wengi's Hydro picking up Seal 9's Kiev, but here comes Mr. Sox North Carolina, and if I'm the Constellation, that's not a fight I want to get into.
Watch this shell hit right here.
Wow. Didn't get much out of it.
All right, never mind. Watch the next one.
Still not a fight I'm excited about getting into if I'm the Constellation, though.
Yeah. He just went ahead and luck-chucked some torps. Remember, those, I believe, are 10-kilometer torpedoes.
Yes, I believe that is correct. No, 9.2, they're Benson torps, so they're almost 10.
They're Bensons? Okay. I couldn't remember if they were the 9.2s or the 10.5s. So.
No, I'm pretty sure they're Benson torps, so they're 9.10. That North Carolina salvo going out at Dunks Chapayev.
Yep.
That could be very impactful, but it isn't. Misses it all. And now, oh my gosh, Dad, look at the Lexington. Look what the Bayards are doing to the Lexington.
Oh, goodness. He's gone. Just like that. Well done, Commander.
Ouch. Ouch. The Bayards in the backfield, the Lexington caught out, and now it's just all coming up. IFHE, a 2-ship lead. They're onto the A cap.
Right.
They got a firm hold on C. There's a good hit on the Constellation, finally.
Yeah, little too late, though. He was able to just sit there and flex his muscles for quite some time.
I gotta say, Zath, despite kind of the misplay of losing their early Kiev, IFHE has recovered very nicely, largely on the strength of the double Bayard Shokaku push down the 8-9 line.
Well, that's definitely caused some consternation for that team, right? The philosophers have to figure how can we react to it, and they essentially didn't.
They didn't. It's been a total disaster, right? They lost both Bagratians and eventually lost their carrier, even, right? I mean, once you get people into your backfield like that, the Lexington really has to confine himself to the corner, almost kind of the I-1-2 portion of the map to avoid being spotted on the surface. Shokaku, the Japanese carriers in general, with their stealthier hull profiles, able to sneak a little closer to the action, and you're definitely seeing that here out of Pikachu.
That's right. And Seal 9 doing a nice job, by the way, of not dying, because, of course, he doesn't have the heal. He's got the smoke.
They know where Big Boy is now. Seal 9 might be coming around the corner to get him. Seal 9 does heavily outgun a Silly Wangi. Oh, down to 300 HP. Here comes the more Chapayev shelves. They're going to get him.
There's also Art Zero getting in position here with his torpedoes. He's going to try to hit the North Carolina.
Ooh, it might be too little too late. We're going to have to see 20 seconds on the timer. These torpedoes are going to have to be a Hail Mary if they want to get a time extension.
Yep. Now he's detected Seal 9 smoking up and just getting some free shots on Art Zero. Art Zero knows he's got to make something happen. It's just
Mr. Sock moving forward, engines up, Torps aren't going to miss. Tarps are going to miss. It's all going to. IFHE is going to win this game, Zath. Look at that. What a recovery. What a recovery from IFHE. Well done.
Outstanding. Yeah, the one thing I'm... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go first.
As the one thing I'm surprised at, I'm still surprised with how those Kievs were played, because generally speaking, the way that I like to play a Kiev, especially in a competitive like clan battles, is you run down to the backfield and then you just piss off the team until they pull away forces to deal with you, and you are essentially a troll. And the more ships that come off at you, the bigger the smile and the grin on your face is, because you know that you're taking away key assets in the enemy. And that's what I love so much about the Kiev. We didn't see that played here. It still worked out for them. So, hey, congratulations there. But wow.
Absolutely. It's been fun to watch as we gotten deeper in the tournament, Zath. More and more teams discover Bayard. Now, I don't believe IFHE's on this list. If my memory serves, we saw them playing Bayard back on day one, just like we saw them today. But they were one of the only ones that we saw doing it. And that kind of harkens back to what we saw 07 doing with Bayard in the last Verizon tournament back in December, right? They would running double Bayard and a kid on a flank, and then the speed boost, the reload boost, all the things you can, the Bayard is her AA is not terrible. She can decently handle herself, especially when there's more than one around. We're seeing teams now realizing the value of just shoving these ships into people's face and just doing ridiculous things with them, especially backed up like the carrier like that. That double Bayard Shokaku push, absolutely murderous, just ruinous for the philosophers in this game.
Absolutely. Well, what do you say we send it back to the studio and let's all take a look at Boggsy's face?
Let's do it.
As his ships are now here.
Let's do it, baby.
Oh. All right, we're back, and apparently we're going to look at Boggsy's face, because that's what Zath said right before he switched over. So congratulations there to IFHE. The Ephraims pulled it out against the Philosophers. What's your take on that match there, Mr. Boggsy Face?
My take is that IFHE crossed the streams and initiated complete and total plutonic reversal, because they lost the first ship early on. One of their Kievs went down very early, and they did not lose another ship after that. They pushed safe to safe. The two Bayards out-traded the two Pyotr Bagratians. I'm sorry, I know I murdered the Pyotr pronunciation there. They came in, they murdered the two P-Bags, then they caught the Lexington, and it was just downhill from there.
Did you just say P?
I did say P-Bags.
Okay.
Ace. That's what us common folk call it, the P-Bags.
Ace, the P-Bag.
Rather than insult the Russians by mispronouncing Piotr, but yeah, it was really astounding. Despite a Herculean effort from the carrier of Pikachu and no, excuse me, the carrier of Well Done Commander and Arch Zero's Laterrable, who were everywhere on the map seemingly all at once. Yeah, IFHE, man, they upped their penetration. They crossed the threshold and they just murdered everybody. Very, very solid gameplay after an unfortunate early loss. It was really amazing to watch. So congratulations to both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a good match. We have one more coming up. Let's bring up the next map and take a look at where these teams are going to be playing next, and
Sure.
we'll figure out what we think we're going to happen on North. So again, the Amalfi, Akazuki, Atago, and the Kaga, they don't like A-shipped names. So
Yes.
we're gonna be taking off on this on North. What do you think the contention is going to be at C? Do you think it's going to be a big fight at C, or do you think they're going to stay out in AB?
Well, because we've seen so many French destroyers today and on previous days, my suspicion is that they're going to continue with the French destroyers. A lot of times, what you'll see on North is you'll see a fast French DD come around the east side of the two islands that separate C and the 910 line. So they'll go up the 9 line or down the 9 line, as depending on what side they start on, and they'll actually enter the cap from the back. They'll use that little island there, right at the beginning of the channel, and they'll hide there while still taking the cap. They can be covered from fire. The French DDs are so fast, sometimes they can even go straight into the cap. They do risk taking a little bit of damage, especially if they get counter-capped by another DD. But somewhat unique to them is their speed lets them do that. And then oftentimes on the A-B side, it becomes the smoke train is what we'll often end up seeing, where someone will go out onto the 2-3 line, smoke up a couple of cruisers. The cruisers will initiate that trade, try to push back the BB, the cruisers, the DD, whatever is out there, until the DD can sneak into the safe cap of the opponent. So I do suspect we will continue to see French DDs. However, Akizukis are very powerful if you do want to make that sort of smoke line push on the 2-3. Since they're banned for this match, obviously we might see a kid smoke up a Chapayev or something like that. But man, I am so impressed with how IFHE was able to consolidate after an early loss, which is pretty bad. You don't want to lose a DD early. That's usually decisive. They came back and they absolutely steamrolled it. So I'm really looking forward to see how the Flying Philosophers come back and try to make this a 3-match series.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And, I want to note that these teams are made up of not only veteran players, but also veterans of the military. And so it's really fun to see these groups come together and play. And IFHE definitely did a great job the last match. I am interested to see what's going to happen on that C cap with that island, especially with any carrier coverage. I think it was Pikachu in the CV for IFHE. He did a great. Was it? Yeah, he did a great job of keeping spotting up for his team. They could see where everybody was at and really navigate around those caps. So, a great job there. I think let's take a look at the bracket and see if IFHE takes it out to this match. They'll win the series, and then they'll face off against the either Jedi or Double the Fun. So we'll see what's going to happen there between those matches. And this has been interesting so far. And it's been this is our 4th match of the day, I think, so far.
Yeah.
So we're getting that going. The teams are getting set up to compete. And I'm sorry, Jedi has won that last match. So
look at that live!
There it goes.
Breaking news.
There it goes. Updated in real time. Jedi have come from the high ground, and they're going to be on equal ground now with either IFHE or Flying Philosophers. And the next match may tell that tale. What do you think they're going to bring into this next match, Bogsy?
Well, conferred the title of Jedi Knight we have upon you, sir. I suspect that we're going to see a similar lineup, not too much different. I think that these teams probably will pick whomever is best at what ship they're able to bring, and they won't switch the lineups too much depending on the map. I've noticed that throughout the series is that the teams tend to bring the same or very similar boats each time. So I would suspect to see something similar. There might be a few additions to the smoke cruiser, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, absolutely right. And as you were talking, something dawned on me. All right, we're gonna.
Game is up.
Let's go watch the game. That's what dawned on me.
Two of the Flying Philosophers versus IFHE.
Hang on a minute. I think we're going back. Nope. They've got the. Yeah.
Nope,
Go ahead. Keep going.
We're in battle.
going.
We're in battle. Nope.
You
Oh,
are, but
I
you're going
see.
back to port. You're going back to port.
Okay. Roger that. Well. Well.
Just kidding. You know. So what I was gonna say, realistically, is that I think I'm a lot like Ron Burgundy because I know that Jedi won that last match, and I saw the bracket and I just read the bracket. I didn't even think about I didn't process what was actually happening or what had already happened, and I just kind of read we'll find out what happens, even though we already knew. So it was a draw temporarily. Something had to change, so they're going to go back to the training room, get whatever sorted out on their end, and then we'll and so throughout this, one of the things that happens is that each of these teams can kind of call a mulligan, and if that's the case, then they'll reset, and that's what we're doing right now. I'm apparently on some sort of sauce from Kemenan again, so they're gonna get that stuff squared away and back up. Boggsy, what do you feel about the day so far? It's been a fun day for me. What about you?
Oh, I mean, I've had a great time so far. This whole thing started at a very reasonable time for me. 6 a.m. is much better than 3:30 a.m. So I'm having a great time watching these teams. These teams are. I love seeing a mix of skill levels, and I love seeing the way that when less skilled competitive players get paired up with more skilled competitive players. I love watching the way that how quickly everybody goes as times happen. I love seeing the tier 8 competitive meta. It's a lot of fun seeing the kinds of boats that you don't get to see very often played very, very well. So I've just been having a great time. And I got my constellation!
Yeah.
I got it!
Maybe.
We did it!
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So speaking of that, though, Boggsy, you'd mentioned seeing all of these different skill level players. This Verizon Warrior series started out as 3 training matches over the course of 2 months.
Right.
So we started in June, and we had some really great coaches and some mediocre coaches. We had Seven, we had Highfire, we also had Sohn. Those were the really great coaches, and then there was one other guy that we had, but he was okay too. But I think that it's really fun watching all of those training sessions come to life, and we're going to see that now in the next match. Enjoy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Second shot here at round 2 of the Flying Philosophers versus IFHE. Map has been corrected. As you guys know, when you put the training room together, you got to make sure that all settings were right. Unfortunately, one setting was slightly off. Got picked up. Had to fix it. No worries. Fixed it. Off we go. So what Flying Philosophers are bringing, once again, Lexington. This time, they apparently don't feel so good about bringing that constellation. They've gone back to an Alabama. They've got a Chapayev. They've got the double P bag. They've got Leterbe, and they have an Orcon this time.
Indeed, it's not the first time we've seen an Orcon in the event, but it's certainly the first time today we've seen one. Mm-hmm. Opposing them from the South Spawn, vying for their finals berth, here is the IFHE team fielding Shokaku, a North Carolina, double Bayard, Chapayev, and double Kiev. Not really seeing any lineup changes at all, actually.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
I guess so. I guess what they need to make sure they fix this time is they need to make sure Narco doesn't slow down and stop in front of the entire opposing team and dive bombers.
Absolutely. Well, that's not going to happen here, as he's already opening up and turning a kite away. So that's what you would expect Kiev to do, and there you go.
They are putting some damage into Arch Zero as he dives the C-cap over here.
Remember, guys, this is do or die for the Flying Philosophers. If they lose this, then they're out of the tournament.
They are indeed. I'm not sure I like this play from Arch. He's about to slow down and basically ground himself on this island with a Shokaku rocket strike coming in. When you telegraph your location like that, the opposing carrier can absolutely get some good work, and we see there the Shokaku rockets getting in about a 3K hit.
That's right. And now you can see this. You can see the relative strength of the Kiev there. It was able to get into position to shoot at Arch Zero. It was able to smoke up. So now they have continued shots for free, which is huge because that if those were friendships, they'd have the Chapayev, the Alabama shooting at them and stuff like that. Nope, they're in smoke. They're safe.
Yep. The Kiev smoke absolutely doing good work for these guys. That worked last game. It's so far working very well this game.
Speaking of Kiev, here comes the sneak.
Indeed,
Philosophers right up on Arch Zero.
Philosophers moving out to an early lead here, but they got one ship quite low. That's Arch Zero's Tarib. Let's see, can they spot him? They can.
Yes.
Narcomoeba opening up on him on the surface as he's trying to maneuver in that narrow channel. It's going to be interesting to see because, again, the torpedo bombers are out hunting him as well. And it's not as if Narco is the only thing shooting at him. His teammates to the south opening up, contributing. Torpedo salvos already downrange looking for Arch.
Yep, Arch grounded himself. There he goes. Now he's gotten freed. This is going to be a huge kill.
If they can bag this kill, it'll be massive. Running back north as the Shokaku loops around to try and put torpedoes into him. We've seen Pika do this, and there we go. There he goes. Indeed. IFHE claiming first blood here. Picking off Arch Zero as he does bag the cap, but it cost him his ship.
Yep. Now that smoke is expiring, but Seal 9 has his smoke available. He can move just a little bit farther forward. Of course, Orkan torpedoes are coming. They don't know that yet.
Spotted now, it looks like, as Buck pulls the handbrake and dodges them easily.
Yep. Now, unfortunately, that's going to screw up a little bit with the smoke timing.
Now, Zath, if you have a look over at the 3 line, we're about to start seeing a repeat. It feels like we've seen this play before.
Intensifies, huh?
Hon intensifies. Double Bayard starting in on the Bagration pair at A again. Going from south to north this game.
This time they're right next to each other, basically saying, we don't need AP. We got HE, let's just do it.
Certainly looks that way as copious quantities of HE going down on Occam's Bagration. He pops his heel, trying to recover some of that lost HP, but the Bayard reload boosters just hammering him.
Yeah.
And here come the rockets.
Look how closely those Bayards are to each other.
Synchronized captaining, Zath.
Yeah. I mean, you miss one and hit the other because of that, though.
Solid rocket here from the Shokaku. They land a fire in about another 2 or 3K, but the fire is what's really going to do the work here.
Oh, absolutely. Not only is it a continuous tick, it's also a debuff to concealment, so it's going to be harder for Occam to go dark, essentially, and stealth up.
Indeed. Bagration, not exactly the stealthiest Tier 8 cruiser. Bayard using that to their advantage here to sneak up and get kind of those first strike salvos we saw. Now, they've got the Alabama looking that way. I've seen some salvos come in. Yep. Farmer Beeves, Alabama, taking long-range pot shots at both of these Bayards at varying points, and they're so close together, Zath, that a miss on one might generate a hit on another.
That's what I was talking about, exactly. Or he could actually hit both.
Yep. He only got an overpen, it looked like, into Creamy that time. As here comes the Lexington.
Yeah.
They have angered the Flying Philosophers, Zath. But all this focus on the Bayard push has allowed them to move up into the A and into the C cap. If you look back over at the 8 line, the Kiev is about to grab C.
There it is.
And there it is. They do get some solid hits into Jared, though, as Occam goes down to a sustained Shokaku assault. Oh! Ira getting big citadels on Jared's Bayard there, way over on the 3 line. Finally seeing the 180 AP come into play.
Just caught a little bit of that there at the end.
And Jared still has Lexington torpedoes coming up from astern. He has to at least factor those into his maneuvering here.
That limits his ability to turn. Exactly.
There we go. They finally run out of steam. He's clear to turn now.
And I almost wonder if he's gone dark at this point.
Now, something else we haven't talked about necessarily in a bit, Zath, if you look back at the 4 line, you're going to find a very, very large presence inexorably steaming towards the A cap.
Yep, that's that North Carolina.
That is Mr. Sox, North Carolina, going to make his presence felt here on this side of the map.
How about the fact that he's backed up by a Shokaku just 1 grid square behind it?
Absolutely. That Shokaku, like Pikachu, one of the things that I kind of when I talk about carrier play, I talk about hull position, and I still feel like hull position is a critical part of mastering and understanding modern post rework carrier play.
Absolutely.
And I don't do it very well. That's one of the reasons I talk about it a lot, because I feel like it's something I need to do better at. But when you see somebody who's good at it, who understands it, and like we continually see out of Pikachu, it is hugely impactful.
That's right.
With a 2-ship lead and a 2-cap lead, now they start to flip over A. IFHE continuing to lay the pressure down. We're not even 8 minutes into this game, and they're working on a 150-point lead. It's about to get bigger.
Yeah, Farmer Bev is getting farmed.
Yeah, he is. He's getting farmed here by Shokaku bomb. Actually, the bombs went on the... No, those went on him.
Yeah, they did. As well as Chapayev and the 2 Kievs.
But now the Kievs you see playing the long-range gunboat role you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Content to sit back and throw shells from 15 kilometers or so, 14 kilometers.
Well, when you've got the cap lead, the point lead, the ship lead, they have to come into you, so you can play that game.
Indeed. I feel like the Philosophers have not gotten much out of the Orcon this game, Zach.
No, they haven't. I mean, the Orcon's got that radar, but they put it with the Chapayev, which also has that radar, so I'm not 100% sure what they were trying to accomplish having it sit there.
So, something else I want to point out about Pikachu's aggressive hull position, look what it allows them to do with Jared. We talked earlier in the day about how it's critical that you're able to use carriers to finish off low-health ships that run away that you might not be able to spot or so on. But by moving the Shokaku forward, his AA suite can then become impactful to the battle by helping defend Jared's Bayard, who's only on 4,000 HP. Should the opposing Lexington decide they want to come for him, he can contribute meaningfully to that defense.
Right.
Kind of all over but the crying here is IFHE just steamrolling this game. They're going to put down Drunk's Chapayev here in seconds, and when that happens, the game will be over.
And that'll be a 2-0, right?
Yep, that'll be a 2-0 sweep for IFHE. They'll be sweeping their way right into the finals to see Jedi Zath, who won their semifinals match already. And there it is.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to see a return of the Jedi.
Indeed. A commanding performance here from IFHE as they move on to the finals. They're going to be facing Jedi, who we saw earlier in their quarterfinals victory. Zath, this is going to be a fun match. I can't wait to have a conversation and try and pick and choose this one. This one's going to be best of 5. We've got to turn it over to the refs so they can do map picks and bans and everything.
Right.
We'll be back to the studio for a bit. Any last thoughts on this match, Zath?
I can't wait. I want to see those Kievs again. Oh my God, this is going to be great.
Oh yeah, this is going to be good stuff. All right, guys, let's kick it back to the studio. We will see you in the finals. Have fun.
And we're back. And that was a match. Congratulations to IFHE for coming out on top. They did a great job. Sad to see the Flying Philosophers fall out of the sky. But Boggsy, what was your take on that match?
That was an absolute stomp. With all due respect to the Flying Philosophers, you guys played brilliantly, but boy, the Bayards, if anyone has a question about whether a pair of Bayards will beat a pair of P-Bags, the question has been settled. We saw... Better get on board with it, brother. That's how we talk in the streets.
Brother? Oh, yeah.
Brother. Yeah. So the right out of the gate, we had a lot of exciting action right around the C-cap, like we thought. Arch Zero's Laterrible from the side of, the Flying Philosophers. He dives right into the C-cap. He takes that island. He stays there, but IFHE had the wherewithal to send a Kiev around the backside, which basically said, I'm going to get you. You're not getting out of there. You'll take the cap, and that's fine. But we're going to get you. You're going to pay for it with a ship. That's exactly what happened. I want to special commendations to Pikachu's Shokaku play. He did something really smart. He knew that he needed to keep that destroyer lit, so he actually dropped his own fighters on top of the fighters that were protecting Arch Zero's Laterrible, and then he backed off and waited for the 2 fighters to cancel each other out, and he stayed on top of that until it was dead. Very well played. That's how you get rid of a DD that's lodged itself in behind that island, and it was performed beautifully. Just really stellar gameplay from them. The Bayard pair worked out so well. yeah, it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it was spectacular. All of these matches today have just been going really, really amazing. Just to start out of the game. It's really fun to see the competition and see these players come together and really kind of turn the tide in what is this battle. IFHE, of course, pulled it out on top, and we're sad to see the Flying Philosophers fall, but they did awesome. And so, yeah,
Flew too close to the sun.
They flew too close to the sun. That's true.
Which philosopher was it that said that?
I think it was Alexander Hamilton. Pretty
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, he was while he was talking to Plato
in that musical about Alexander Hamilton called Wicked, right?
Yeah, and that with Enrique Iglesias. So, well, let's bring back our friends Lord Zath and Sea Raptor and hear what their thoughts are on the series so far.
I don't know that I can stand. I don't know that I can stand with Bogsy's blasphemy of Broadway classics over here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we can be friends anymore, sir.
They're less than 20 years old. They can't be classics if they're less than 20 years old.
No, those are classics, and we both know it.
They will be one day, and one of these days we can all stream and sing Hamilton together. I'd be okay with that. But hey, actually, before we get too far, Lord Zath, Sea Raptor, you guys are absolutely killing it today. Thank you guys so much for the work you're putting in and commentating. I know it's great to hear the chat's loving hearing the commentation. So great job all around. What do you guys think of the series so far, Sea Raptor?
What do I think? Han. The Bayards have been absolutely just decisive to the way these strategies have played out, because even if in the first game we saw them move up and just all, I won't say solo the Bagratians because that's unfair. They had a Shokaku for support, but they just absolutely chose one and deleted it, and then systematically chose the other one and then deleted it. This game, you're looking at basically almost a repeat. Now, the Philosophers came a little better prepared for this play, like having experienced it once. They were not completely caught off guard by it. So they played a little better. They handled it better. They had the battleship, kind of his guns ready to go back and look and help. And the Bayards definitely took some punishment, right? And were kind of turned away. But this game, they opted to do things a little different. They brought the North Carolina up for support on that flank instead of leaving him over at the sea cap. And while all that distraction was going on, and I think this is something that Zath and I touched on that I think really bears repeating, is that even if the Bayard push fails, even if they're turned around and they speed boost and run away, the fact that you've literally got the entire team's guns to look over at the 2-line or the 3-line for a few minutes allows the rest of your team to move back up in the sea cap and be like, pay no attention to what's going on in the sea cap. Look over at the Bayards, big bad Bayards, right? And we saw that happen again here. So just so many things going on. Really aggressive play, which I'll always like to see. But when you can play that aggressively and have it work and it's rewarded with the caps and the kills and everything that you're looking for, it is a true joy to watch in this game.
That's right. These aren't the ships you're looking for.
That's what the Jedi are going to be saying in the finals, let me tell you.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, if I'm Jedi, I'm watching the Bayards, I'm watching that game, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we need to be able to mutually support each other. North is a relatively small map to the point where you can turn some guns around. You can try to support that flank versus Warrior's Path, where they're out kind of, their teammates are hung out to dry. So we saw the attempt at support there, right? When the Alabama changed its guns around, and we did see some smacking going on there between that and the P-bags as they were trying to kite away. So we did see some, but I think we're noticing the difference between DPM and heal, right? The difference between getting out there and just hitting hard or having to sustain. And obviously it's that hitting hard that's winning over the sustain, which is an interesting concept, because in random battles, it typically goes the other way. Typically the sustain is the more important part. Or maybe even in ranked battles, the sustain is more important as well. But we're not seeing that here in this kind of competitive play. And that's exciting to me, because we're seeing the game play out in a completely different fashion than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and actually, I would even point out, Zath, what you just said there is like a critical component for anyone who's wondering, how do I confront a clan battle meta that has carriers in it? It just cuts the time down on anything you're trying to do. So if you are, for example, as Raptor and Zath both pointed out, you've got the two Bayards up against the two Pyotr Bagrations, right? So what happens is one has a heal, it's playing the long game, it wants to trade over time. The other is like, I gotta do all the Daka Daka right now, otherwise I get out traded. When you have a carrier on your side, it helps you identify and isolate a single target to take down, which is exactly what the Bayards wanted to do, and it's exactly what they did do. So I'm glad, yeah, that Zath caught that, you guys, that it wasn't just the Bayards out trading. They had the carrier focus the same target with them, and that's so critical to taking guns off the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's literally a 3-on-1 at that point. As Zath would say, you're getting RoboCopped, but you're getting RoboCopped by 3 different players. And consider that for a minute. There's only 7 players on the team, so nearly half of them are focusing you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're a battleship, a cruiser, whatever. You're not going to be on the board very long under that kind of sustained firepower as long as you're spotted. It's that simple. The math does not work for you.
Heal or no heal, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't work.
Yeah, that was.
So what's going to be?
Go ahead.
I was going to say what's going to be fascinating, right? Like the Jedi guys, I'm confident have been watching the stream. I'm going to be fascinated to see what their response to this is, right? Having seen this roll over the opposing team 2 games in a row, what are they going to do when it comes their turn in the barrel?
And it's Revenge of the Chicago. Episode 3 is what New Dulski said in chat. So we'll see what happens if they bring in some Corvettes or some Imperial destroyers. We'll see what happens in the next couple of matches. So we obviously planned for 3 matches, but we didn't have 3 matches, so we got some time. We're gonna do some trivia here in just a little bit, brought to you by History Channel. So we're super happy to have History Channel on. For those who missed our last stream, or 2 streams ago, we had Dr. Jeff Warrow from History Channel, as well as he's the director of history at the University of Texas North, and he joined us to talk about the history of military training. So it was awesome to see him join for that. We'll have some more questions coming up here in just a few minutes. We have a couple of teams left. I'd like to bring up the bracket and see where we're at right now and what the world looks like. So if Mr. Conway can flip us over to that bracket, we can talk about. We have IFHE and Jedi competing for big prizes, double the fun. Flying Philosophers are going for the 3rd place match. So let's talk about double the fun and Flying Philosophers for just a moment. And Boggsy, what do you think? What do you think we're going to see in this 3rd place match?
Well, I haven't had the joy of watching Double the Fun yet. I haven't been able to watch Double the Fun yet, but however, Flying Philosophers, it's interesting. In all the games I've seen them play so far, they start the matches out very strong. They have several players whom I know are very, very strong competitive players. But they generally know what to do as the match begins. They have good placement. They have good, I would say, just good strategy. The carrier is on top of his game. The issue comes in the long game, and they seem to struggle a little bit when it comes to maintaining their health pools, keeping a little distance between them and other ships when they need to preserve some of their HP. So they end up sort of getting just whittled down and ultimately losing out on that trading and on the placement. I haven't seen Double the Fun yet today, so I can't quite comment about them. But Flying Philosopher has an absolutely, they have an absolute chance to take the 3rd place away from Double the Fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, we won't be getting to see that match, but I'm very interested to see what will come of it. But what we're going to see a couple of matches here in just a little bit. We're going to have Game 3 of the finals, which is going to be a best of 5 at that point. So we're going to see those teams go at it for quite a while. What do you think Jedi or IFHE need to do differently in the next round in order to change the outcome?
Well, that's a great question. Both teams have shown an exceptional competence at knowing how to contest the caps, knowing where the strong points on the maps are. I'm really impressed specifically with IFHE's ability to... it's something you see a lot in the higher levels of clan play, where they show a patience. They know exactly what their win condition is. They know how they're going to get that, and they know where to place their ships, even if it doesn't seem expedient, even if it doesn't seem like, we got to get the caps right now. They're gaining points. We're bleeding points. They don't do that. They know, hey, it's okay. They can have the cap for a minute or two because we're going to trap that DD. We're going to kill that DD. And then we're going to take the cap and we'll be up, we'll be up a boat. That's one of those things where as you start to get to the really high levels of clan play, you'll see people be more and more patient.
Right.
See that in King of the Sea, for example. You'll see it at the top of clan battles. So IFHE has really done a great job of demonstrating they understand that fundamental game dynamic, and they're good at it. They're really, really good at it. It's been a joy to watch. Jedi, obviously, Jedi has made some of the craziest plays that work out for them. I'm so excited to see them. They feel more like the wild card team. I'm excited to see. They have somewhat similar lineups, I believe. I'm interested to see if they continue to bring the Tone. I think that was Jedi that brought the Tone, right?
I think so. I don't remember exactly, but
Sure.
I think it was that the Jedi brought the Tone.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that works out for them. But I think this is gonna be where we start to see a much more highly optimized setup between these two teams, whom already, by virtue of having made it this far, they've demonstrated they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. And so now I think it's time that we see if our chat knows what they're doing. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, we have some questions that were sent over to us by our partners at History Channel. So I'd love to run that quiz for everybody. So what you'll need to do is you'll see an indicator on your screen that lets you sign in and make sure you put your name in there. We'll drop some questions up on the screen here in just a moment, so you'll start seeing those. I'm going to be clicking some buttons here. And so we're going to be going for points. So you have to answer the question as quickly as possible because you'll get more points for that. And again, these questions are brought to us by our friends at History Channel. So thank you so much, History Channel, for sharing these. So up on the screen, you're going to see the instructions shown. Correct answers gain points. Wrong answers, you lose points. The quicker you answer, the more points you get. Not answering, so if you don't know the question, don't answer it. And the player with the most points that will at the end will win. Make sure you hover over that little quiz kit icon. The experience may be different on mobile, but you'll need to click on that Manage Access button. And once you clicked on Manage Access, you'll have a button that says Grant. You do that, and that way we can see who wins. Otherwise, it's just going to say anonymous, and anonymous people are winners, but we can't celebrate them because it's anonymous. So we'll give it just a couple of seconds here, and then we'll launch the quiz kit. And Boggsy, I'll turn it over to you to read the first question, if you don't mind. And we'll get started here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here comes the first question.
I take it I'm not allowed to answer the questions.
You're not allowed to answer the questions. Go ahead.
Right. Question number 1. What was the name of the fishing schooner that became the first armed vessel in the Continental Army in 1775? Was it the Felix, the Freedom, the Hannah, or the Independence?
I think it was the Jeff.
Jeff.
Named
after the famous United States General Jeff.
General Jeff.
General
Yes.
Jeff.
Who fought
He's so much cooler than General Chad. General Chad was a he was a meme.
All right, so time is up, and the answer. Who do you think it is, Boggsy?
I know who it is, so I'm not going to say it.
Let's show the answer. And it was the Hannah, or would it just be Hannah? I don't know if it would be the Hannah, but it looks like 28 of you got that right. So congratulations to the 28 of you. And let's take a look at where we're at right now. We have a lot of contestants with some numbers there. So make sure you guys are granting that access. Otherwise, you're just going to be contestant number 1661. All right. Next question. And I'll read this one out.
Okay.
How many U.S. presidents have served in the United States Navy? 1, 3, 10, or 6?
The answer is aliens.
Aliens. 7 of them. 7 aliens. The question is, how do you play the quiz kit? You'll need to grant access, and then it should show up on your screen. And on your screen, you'll be able to answer the question by clicking on it there. And the results are in. What do you think, Mr. Bogsy? How many presidents do you think?
10.
10. Do you think you can name those 10? No.
Well, they all start with Rear Admiral. How about that?
They all start with Mr. President.
Yeah.
So let's see what the answer is. All right, and the answer is 6, and it looks like 97 people got it correct. Only 11 people thought. And so I pulled up a list here, and so it was John F. Kennedy, and John F. Kennedy has a very famous quote. Lyndon B. Johnson, President Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, and George H.W. Bush all served in the U.S. Navy.
These are all guys from the 20th century.
They are.
That I don't know why, but that's very surprising to me. Maybe just the Navy. Well, I don't.
The nature.
I'm going to stop talking before I make myself sound stupider.
That's it. It's all right. Well, let's head on to the next question. All right, and Bugs, if you would do us the honors.
You got it. During the 1842 Somers Affair, 3 young sailors were executed aboard a Navy expedition for what crime? Mutiny, so they could become pirates. Eating the last of the food on board. Incorrect use of the latrines. Or smuggling opium from China. You got a guess, Kalvoth?
I know what I want it to be, but I don't know if my answer is correct. But I would love to know what incorrect use of the latrines actually qualifies as. But I don't know that I want to find out here.
Clearly, you've never used a latrine incorrectly, then.
I don't know how to use the seashells. That's my biggest problem. So I have some stories about heads on Navy ships. But let's find out what the community thinks and what the answer is. The community thinks it was smuggling opium from China, but in fact, it was mutiny so they could become pirates.
Yarr!
That is interesting.
Yarr, you guessed wrong. Smuggling opium from China.
You got it wrong in your head. So
that's great.
I had no idea that.
Didn't either. I thought it was opium.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And
Wow.
Incorrect use of the latrine. Somebody pointed out that in the Navy we don't call them latrines, we call them heads. But that's quite all right. Let's find out what the score is right now. What contestant? Oh, we have a boss though.
Ooh.
We have a boss in first place with contestant 1661. And I believe contestant 1661 was there earlier as well. So let's find out what our next question is and see where A Boss ends up, because that's the only name we know.
Right.
All right. More than 4,500 midshipmen attended the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis today. How many have been enrolled, or how many enrolled in its opening in 1845? 150, 42, which is a great number, 50, or 800? How many midshipmen were enrolled in Annapolis in 1845?
Well, I'm having that trouble right now because 42 is the only number that sticks out that's different than the other ones. It doesn't end in a 0. However, 4,500 shipmen is a 0. So I'm going to say...
You're going to say 42?
I'm going to say 800.
800. Okay. Yeah. 800 midshipmen in 1845 is his guess. 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and it happens to also be my birthday, April 2nd, so just remember that for later. I wear a size diamond.
And 150, that's your age, so it's perfect.
And wow, that hurts. And the answer is 50. So there were only 50 midshipmen enrolled in the Naval Academy in Annapolis in 1845, whereas now 4,500 midshipmen attend. So Wow. Congrats. Let's find out where people guessed on that one. And wow. All right then.
What's that?
The tides are turning. All right. Now on to the next question. I think we have one more after this. So Mr. Bogsy, take us away. Oh, no, this is the last question.
Okay. During the Civil War, the Confederate blockade breaker CSS Alabama sunk or captured how many Union merchant ships? 28? 45, 66, or 69?
42. Wait, that answer's not here.
I mean, you all know what I'm guessing.
All right. So, the answer today is waiting for players, apparently. 26?
I say 28.
You say 28?
I think so.
I say 66, because that's what the answer told me. You were close. You were only off by about 40 or 38 points.
I was only off by the widest possible margin.
You could have not guessed at all. But that's it. So these questions are brought to us by History Channel. Thank you so much for sharing these questions and sharing some fun history with us. Let's find out who comes out on top with their history. Contestant 443.
Ooh.
I've known contestant 443 for like 5 years, so this doesn't surprise me at all. They're really solid historian, really knows what their naval history is. They just don't know their name.
So much cooler than contestant 444.
All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us for trivia. We have some more great fun coming up. We have a really cool video that we want to show here in just a moment. So, and then we'll tune into Raptor and Lord Zath for the next game. I think it's going to be, we're going to see game 1 of the finals. Game 3, round 1, best of 5, 1 of 5 is I think what it is, Boggsy. So what do you think we're going to see here? Who do you think at the end of the day, who do you think is going to take the cake?
Ooh, so who do I say IFHE over Jedi, right?
Yes.
Well, naming a clan Jedi is a path that some would say leads to powers that some would consider unnatural. But I have a feeling that IFHE is going to prove that it's not actually a defunct skill anymore, and they're going to come out on top.
Who do you think will be the last Jedi?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm losing it. I was trying to come up with some clever. You beat me. You beat me. You stumped me. I never really took improv lessons in Los Angeles. When I was taking acting classes, I stuck to dramatics.
True. I don't know who's gonna win.
I'm just trying to keep up with you, man.
Just trying to keep up.
I have a feeling that IFHE has been so squeaky clean. They've been really precise with their movements, and I feel like it's going to go to game 3. But I have a feeling that IFHE is going to take it.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll find out what happens soon. But for now, we're going to turn into the next video. And before we do, I want to just briefly talk about that video. Earlier, we saw the video on. They talked about what gaming does for veterans, and this is the follow-up video to that. So, gaming is a tool, is a resource for veterans, and as well as communicating with other people. And so let's find out what this next video has to say about veterans and Roundtable.
When I was disconnected from the military, I lost touch with a lot of the guys that I served with because there was no social media then. There was no online gaming at that point. And we were able to reconnect as that stuff started to come to fruition. And then now I'm able to hang out with them.
Up until pretty recently, gamers always had the stigma of being considered loners. People that would rather interact with a console and a controller than, well, other people. Now, however, we know that the truth is the exact opposite. Gamers tend to be anything but loners. Gamer communities are actually very social, and they're growing every day.
For me, community is lifeline. When I was in the depths of my depression, I feel it's normal to want to self-isolate and be away from people.
It was some of the darkest points of my existence.
You fall into these cycles, these loops that just really want to capture you, take hold of you, and kind of force you in a particular direction. If you don't have that community to help pull you out of that cycle, then it's just something that's going to keep on continuing until you burn out.
Finding a community is one of the most important steps that you can take when you are getting out of the military so that you have more normalcy around what you're doing day in and day out.
These people are family to me, and gaming has surprisingly been a big part of that because I keep in touch with all my Marines this way. We talk smack to each other still.
Through its partnerships with Wounded Warrior Project and supporting programs that benefit veterans, Verizon is committed to giving more to those who give the most. Check out Verizon.com/military to see why Verizon is ranked the most military-friendly company.
Community is everything, and we've talked to Sergio and Sal, we've talked to Jason and Jay, and there's not anything more that I could say that they didn't already cover. It's having people is super important. Do that buddy check we've talked about. Now, with my buddy Bogsy up there, let's talk about this best of 5 with IFHE and Jedi.
It's worth pointing out that a moment ago I said this was going to go to game 3 and best of 3. I meant to say best of 5.
It may go to game 3.
I am just a human. I know that some of you who watch my just otherworldly content, one might even say alien content, you think he can't really be real. It is true. I'm a human. So my mistake. It's best of 5. The bands coming in here are for the Kid, the Kaga, the Key, and the Bayard. Now, Calvoth, you said something very specific, or maybe it was Sea Raptor or Zath, I can't remember, who said Jedi could be looking at these matches and going, how do we deal with this? And I think the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding says Bayard. So the question is going to be with that the off-flank push of the double Bayard that has worked out so successfully for them so far, what are they going to use to change? What are they going to use to take the place of that? Is it going to be something like a Mind, something with really, really fast, heavy HE DPM? Is it going to be something a little tankier? It's kind of hard to say. So I'm interested to see. It looks like Jedi did their homework. I wonder if IFHE is going to be able to do anything about that as well, or whether watching the other games factored into their choice of bands as well.
It's a good question, and it's a really good point. Is IFHE and Jedi have really strong teams put together, and they're not all veteran players, long-term players. Some of these players are newer to the game, and so it's really interesting to see the dynamic and what's going to come out of this. I think it's a little too early to tell, but I think Jedi is going to take the first match. So we're going to be seeing the first match here on North. What do you think is going to happen here on North, and what do you think their play is going to be early on?
Well, I think that IFHE is going to do something similar to what they did just a moment ago against the Flying Philosophers, where they sent a push force of DPM HE cruisers up the 2-3 line and out wide, while that battleship sidles right up. You got to remember, a North Carolina walked into the safe cap of the enemy in that match. And it was just gorgeous to watch because the Bayards had pushed out so far to force the two Pyotr Bagratians to go further and further and further away, which lets the North Carolina just walk right up from the B cap to the A cap and say, this is mine now. It's like a cat marking his territory in your apartment. Like, this is mine. I know that you bought it and you started with it, but this is mine now. And I suspect they'll also make a quick play for C. I think Jedi will be absolutely prepared for that. How they deal with a quick DD into C, we'll have to see. But I did like I really, really liked the use of the Kievs. Just the Kiev from IFHE in that last match. I have a feeling that Jedi, however, is not going to get tricked. I'll let you just have that one. They're not going to get Jedi mind tricked, yeah.
Is it in your mind that they're not going to get tricked?
Yeah, so the really cool thing is that both of these teams has technically had the opportunity to watch the other play. And it's going to be, I think that if they are, since they got to this point already, let me put it this way. Since they got to this point already, I fully expect that they will have talked about it. They will have said, okay, what do we need to do to counteract that strategy? One is ship bans. You ban the ship that does the best thing that the other team wants. That's the Bayard. So they go, okay, what could they bring to replace it? And they say, let's prep for that. We'll just see if they went rock, paper, scissors correctly, I guess.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think we're still gonna see the tone. I'm not sure. I destroy ship names. It's not even funny. So we think that match is getting ready. So those teams are getting prepared. Hopefully we'll not have any immediate mulligans, and the teams will be able to kick off. But what do you think? Do you think anybody's going to bring a Tone in?
I mean, I would suspect that Jedi might take it. They actually did some beautiful cross drops in the first matches where a DD and a Tone coordinated their torpedoes to end up taking out, I forget what the ship was, a cruiser on the enemy team, and it was just gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to seeing something similar. It's always great to see coordination, like coordination of that caliber. It really speaks to high-level gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I imagine that those teams right now are talking about the last-minute tactics and those first few seconds of positioning in the match. I really suspect that we're going to see a lot of what you had mentioned is a lot of that wide out support coming in from that east side. So we'll see what happens. We're going to turn it over to Lord Zath and Sea Raptor and watch game 1 of the finals. Enjoy.